All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tight and flow like a harpoon daily.
Welcome to Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the book report. Please welcome already on stage your hosts, Jesse and Dana.
Dana, how the hell are you? Welcome to the book report, you guys.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for coming out. In case you're not entirely sure what you're about to watch, let me break it down for you really quick. We've invited 3 of our comedy friends who tell jokes. They're really funny, but we're going to throw something at them that they're not used to. We're going to have them do a book report on one of their favorite books, just like we had to do in high school and junior high. And did we do it in college?
Yeah, I think so.
Were there book reports in college? Yeah? Okay. Well,
I even did them in science class, which is weird.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do book report. They're going to do a book report based on one of their books. My co-host here, Dana Bryant, who is an improviser extraordinaire, like next level, right?
Don't oversell me.
She will then take what knowledge we've gained from the book report from them, and then launched into an improvised scene inspired by the book report with the comic, who is not an improviser, but I've spoken to enough comics over the years that they all believe they can be great improvisers. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. Interact with us. We don't care. It makes it funner. You know. Don't make us have to drag you out. You know, like mid show. Don't get that crazy on us. But yeah,
will not be graded, so nobody's gonna be given a quiz at the end.
Yeah, and we won't like make the class stay after until whoever confesses that they did it. You know, we won't do that. But thanks for coming to the show. I'm Jesse Rivera.
I'm Dana Bryant. Hello.
Yeah, and we met so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met doing improv here locally, and we were actually part of an improv team that is just kind of. They haven't gone away yet, but they're resting. We were part of a team called Telenovela. I don't know if you guys ever heard of us. Yeah? Just pretend you did. She's nodding like, yeah, she's heard of us, right? So you see, we're famous all over town. Right. And we met on Telenovela, and then Telenovela is kind of like on hiatus right now. But I really, really like working with Dana. And I know that Dana, like myself, is, and I say this as a compliment, is kind of a nerd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Anyone else? Yeah, nerd.
Dana and I have had conversations about books, and like not just like the book, but like physical book, like the books, like opening them up and hearing them crinkle, and like the way they smell, and whether or not you like bend the page back to do rabbit ears to mark the page, like. We love books, so I wanted to do something that had to do with books, and so.
I like to guess when I take a book jacket off. I like to guess what the binding and the the cover colors underneath are gonna be.
Yeah. Okay.
Like sometimes I can be scary accurate. It's a little freaky.
Do you ever? One of my favorite things reading when I was young was like, there would be like a scene on the cover of the book. When you finally reach the point of the book that's always exciting, and sometimes anticlimactic. Yeah.
Yeah. I always hated the saying "Don't judge a book by its cover" because I like the feeling behind it, but I'm like, but no, like it's supposed to sell you on the book. Like the cover needs to be accurate.
Yeah, the cover is everything we.
Right.
The cover is everything that we judge it on.
Right.
Yeah. Are you reading anything right now?
I just finished a book recently, actually. My best friend's actually an author, and they did a
Humble brag. My best friend sells weed. It's not the same.
And they recently, in the last year or two, released a reimagining of The Great Gatsby.
Oh.
It's called Self-Made Boys, and it reimagines like Nick as a Latinx trans man, and a lot of the other characters in there are LGBTQ and other ethnicities. And it's way better than the original Gatsby, because the original one I was like, this is it, like this is what everybody loves about this. It's like this thick, and you're like, what's about to happen? And it's just like there's no plot. until you get to the end, you're like, oh, okay, something happened. But like, because I read The Real Gatsby in 2017, and I was like, this is it? Like, this is what everybody likes? I don't, like, it wasn't bad. It was just this big.
So did they bring Gatsby into 2023 or?
No, it was set in the old time, but it was like looking at sort of like the culture and like kind of like, yeah, peoples existed that weren't all just like straight white people. Let's like look at different things, and then it also made me realize like, oh, The Great Gatsby was written before the Great Depression. They don't know what's about to happen. like, he's not gonna have a lot of money much later.
Don't marry him for his money right now. Or her. Don't marry them for their
No.
money right now. Right on. I'm a rereader. Like I'll reread the same book a couple of times over. But if I really love the book, like sometimes like I'll just kind of pick it up because I want to read a particular chapter. Like I'm feeling like a particular mood that day. And the other day I collect records and I scored a soundtrack from a 1980s movie called Less Than Zero. Robert Downey Jr. was in it,
Nice.
and all the old people are nodding. And it made me like looking at the cover, like made me think of the book, and I found my old copy of the book because there was like one particular chapter I wanted to reread, and then it's been sitting on my work desk, and whenever I need a timeout. What are before we bring out our next guest, our first guest actually, what's your stand on so I'm listening to an audiobook right now.
Okay.
Do you do audiobooks? And when you do an audiobook, do you say I just read it or do you say I just listened to it?
Oh, I don't know, because I've done a few audiobooks. I usually do audiobooks like if I'm going on a long road trip, because it's like it gives you something to like pay attention to, and it's longer, so then the trip goes by faster. I feel like I'd say I listened to it because that's how I did it, but like you can say whatever. Like I feel like taking in a book's taking in a book.
Well, I have this friend, and whenever I listen to an audiobook and like we'll be like in conversation, I'll say, yeah, well I just read. They will correct me like he didn't read it, he listened to it. Like I'm like that's kind of mean, huh?
Right? I mean, like you experienced the book. You can be like, well, I sensory incepted the book into my body.
Yeah.
Like-
So right now I'm listening to I think it's called I Am the Warrior, and it's by this songwriter, and her name is Holly Knight, and she wrote like a bajillion hit songs from like 1981 to like current. Like she wrote hits for Tina Turner and Rod Stewart, Hart, like the MTV era, and Pat Benatar.
Okay.
So I heard her on a podcast the other day.
Oh, you mean like the OG MTV, not the like TRL
Yes,
early
yes.
2000s?
No, like the real MTV where they played videos. Like she wrote a bunch of hits for all those artists in the 80s, and she's telling her story right now. It's a really great story. So, all right, should we bring out our first guest?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, I really like this person a lot. I
Me
think they're
too.
super. Do you like them too?
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when we both like them. It makes for a much funner show.
Not that I dislike anyone else, it's just that like I know this person.
I'm the
so-
one that dislikes a lot of people.
I dislike very few people.
Okay. Our first guest, Sacramento comic, very, very funny, very talented, very smart. Please welcome to the stage Nicole Eichenberg.
Hi,
What's up, Nicole? How are you?
living the dream. How about you guys?
Yeah. Well, if the dream is being wet and carrying an umbrella, then yes, I'm living the dream.
I'm goth inside, so it works for me.
Are you
Yeah.
loving this weather then?
Mm-hmm.
Is it making you be super creative and like, are you like diving into your art right now and writing and reading, or
I
just
am.
drinking a lot?
I actually can't drink anymore because COVID made me allergic to alcohol.
Oh.
Yeah, it's,
No,
Lord.
or yay, like
Yeah,
whatever.
cover
I
your
don't
ears,
know.
children.
I mean, like, I'm saving a ton of money, but still get vaccinated because I shit my pants for 10 days straight, so. I made that super awkward. Okay, I'm just
She
gonna...
said before, not today. That was, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen today, hopefully.
I'm gonna ask you guys too. Okay, I hate movie adaptation book covers.
Yes.
But this was the cheapest option on Amazon, so that won out over the actual cover with the really old guy's face. If anyone remembers the original Giver book cover. Looking around, a lot of you might be too young for that, but anyway.
I feel like there should be a saying, be like, I read it before it was a movie adaptation. Like,
And I have a lot of feelings and thoughts about this book if I can share them with y'all.
Oh,
Yes,
definitely.
please.
All right, let's get there. What's your book?
So my book is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I don't know how to pronounce it, but so this book, when I was about 10, which would have been like 1994, was banned because there is a scene in it of someone killing a baby. And so me being 10, I was like, I want to read this book because it's being banned. And as a little bit of background, I was raised by like a super conservative, ultra right-wing family, which was weird. And reading this book, it kind of tells you to like question authority and like figure out like what the right thing is to do, even though like there are maybe laws or people telling you what you should do. So the scene that was controversial in here is because it's a society where everyone has to be totally homogenous, and like if you have a baby that's like has any kind of like disability or malformation, it's like they will terminate the baby's life. And so that was kind of the point. It's like, what have we gotten to as a society when we're, you know, killing babies because they won't make it without assistance?
Wow.
And that's kind of where I started, you know, questioning the things my parents taught me and things I learned in school, and I became the weird-ass person I am today.
You're an awesome person today.
Thank you.
So this was a book, now it's a movie?
Yes, so this movie was in development hell for so long. Lloyd Bridges was going to play the Giver, the original old guy in it, but then Jeff Bridges did it because Lloyd Bridges was long dead by the time the movie came out. And he did a very good job. I normally don't really care for movie adaptations either, but it was actually done very well. Anyone see the Giver movie that came out in like 2015?
no, but when the only time I went to Comic-Con, they were releasing this movie and they were like talking about it. I was like, oh, okay.
One of the things I did like about the movie is like kind of like Pleasantville, like it starts out in black and white, and so this main character, okay, so I'm gonna get into the book plot a little bit. Sorry, I'm just like rambling. So it's this future society where like they've eliminated all war and like all need, but everything is completely homogenous. Like people see in black and white, they don't have memories of like what happened before this, and so they're everyone gets assigned a job by when they're I think like 12 or 13, they're young. And so one guy gets assigned to be the Giver, and what the Giver is the person who remembers all the memories from like life before it is now. And so he sees like pain, he sees suffering, he sees happiness, and like the main point of the book is it's like, are you okay being safe, or do you want to like see what else is out there and possibly be dangerous?
Ooh.
So
The job that they get assigned, is it assigned like, because you said it gets assigned like when they're like 12 or something like that? Is it assigned to them like based on like the aptitude that they have shown up to that age, or like their family, or their?
yeah, more or less. And I think part of it is just like we need someone to empty the trash, so here you go. You know.
Right, that was my job.
We need people. I mean, like environmental services shuts down at my work, and we're just fucked.
Like the trash just piles up.
Mhm.
Have you read this book several times, or is it a reread for you, or?
It's a reread. I
You
read
said
it.
you read it when you were 10, right?
Yeah, I did, and then I went out and bought it, and I read that a lot, and I have it on Kindle now. So I'm a Kindle person because for me it's an issue of space because I have literally thousands of books on my Kindle, and I don't have space for thousands of books. So that's my reason for it.
Do you still sometimes buy a physical copy of a book because you love it so much, or if you're going on a vacation or something?
Yeah, I actually do. When I was in Savannah, Georgia, which is like massively haunted and super cool, they have a bookstore where they actually have cats in it, and you can like play with the cats while you're shopping. And they had like this illustrated H.P. Lovecraft of all his stories, and they had like diagrams and talked about like the history of it. And so I bought that, not thinking, hey, I bought a 5-pound book, I have to take this back to Sacramento. But it's still a very good book.
What's the most recent book is that the most recent book you bought, or?
The most recent book I bought, actually, it's going to be kind of a downer, sorry, was the book that was written by the guy who's on Surviving R. Kelly, the one who like researched and like got into like all the girls and their stories and kind of helped break this case.
Oh wow, that is kind of dark.
Yeah.
Glad you're not doing that book.
You know, I briefly thought about it. Just
that
to be a
scene
dick.
would have been crazy.
Yes. I don't even know what scene we're gonna do from this book. Like, this is kind of dark too, actually.
Well, tell us some more about it. So, how does it? Is there a hero? Is there a villain? Is there a?
Yeah, so the main hero is this guy named Jonah who becomes the Giver, and like the way they do it is really neat because it's like everyone has a number, and that's the number you're assigned. People refer to you by your number. And so he's going, and they skip over his number as they're assigning jobs, and he starts to freak out. And then at the end, they have this ceremony where they tell him he's the giver, and he has to go see Jeff Bridges and like learn all his wisdom from him. And I guess they do this that they're doing on the cover, and like holding hands and passing memories. And so he like kind of starts to see, it's like he recognizes like words for certain things are wrong, like animals. Like he doesn't know what an elephant is. People are calling it like a hippo or something. Like he starts to have a crush on his friend, and like as he does this, like things start to have color, kind of like in Pleasantville, where like some of the frames are colorized, and by the end, it's like he is basically running away from this. It kind of looks almost like a. Anyone remember that game Myst from the '80s? It looks. Anyway, I'm a nerd, but it was like this exploration game, and the map looks kind of like the Myst map. I'm fucking old. And it was like a computer game in the 90s. And so he found the edge of what is considered to be like the edge of society, and it's him basically like on a sled, like with a baby he saved from being euthanized, and him going towards it like hoping for a better life, but you don't really know what else is out there. And I like that.
And that's how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Did the movie mess it up?
Actually, no. I really like the way they did it. And it's kind of funny because their leader, I forget what their name for it is, was played by Meryl Streep. And they wanted Meryl Streep so badly, but she was in another country filming a different movie. They made her a hologram in this movie, which I respect.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's Meryl, you know, you got to go with her.
Yeah.
So is it like a situation like everyone, like this is everyone, or is it like there might be other societies out there doing different shit and we might go find them?
Ooh.
They make you think it's the only way. It kind of has some like cultish references, which I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it a cult, but there's definitely, it's like there is a leader, it's like you have your way of thinking, there is no deviation whatsoever. I guess kind of like living in a totalitarian state. I'm educated, I swear. Yeah. So.
What do you think, Dana? You got enough stuff there, or you want to pry some more information out of it?
I mean, I can go with whatever. I think we're good, unless you have something else you want to share.
Not really.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see a scene from The Giver.
Actually, by the way, would anybody actually like this book to take home and read? It's very good.
Oh, I thought you asked if anybody does like the book.
Okay, if anybody wants the book, I'm going to leave it here. You can take it. There you go.
Somebody please take the book.
Yes.
It's going to be weird if it's there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so it's really weird being, in this society, given the job of like fruit sorter. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to sort this.
Hey, why do you think this is called an orange? It's really weird.
I don't know. I guess because it's round. It looks just as gray as this apple over here.
Yeah, but this one's darker gray, so I think maybe that should go over here.
Okay, that makes sense. And this gray one is very mushy, but like this same gray peach, which is just round like the orange, is much harder. I don't understand what's going on here.
I wonder if people used to take this like long rounded thing and put it up their butt back in the day.
Oh yeah. And maybe if you had a smaller butt, you would take the gray outside part off and put the lighter gray part inside only.
Well, I've heard by people who've worked in medical places that if you take the gray peel off that and put it in an orifice, it's so much harder to get it out afterwards.
Oh.
It's something I've heard.
You would think it wouldn't be because it's just as squishy as the gray stuff that comes out of your butt. Weird.
Mine is more solid than that, but whatever.
Okay. This giant gray head-shaped one is interesting because it's really hard on the outside and it's just the same gray color on the inside with tiny gray seeds, but it looks like a human head.
Is it like watery?
Yeah.
Maybe they call it a watermelon.
Oh, that's smart because you call your head a melon and you're 80% water, I've heard, so that's fun.
And then this one's like also the sides of a head and also gray, and it has some little divots on it.
Oh.
Maybe I should think of more exotic fruit. How about this one that's like spiky on the outside and has a crown on the top?
Oh, that one's like, definitely don't put it in your butt one. Okay, see.
Oh. It always goes to butt stuff, Nicole.
Well, lot of my set is about butt stuff, by the way. But I work in the medical field. So it's about things that came out of people's butts. If anyone would like to come see me talk about butts sometime.
Speaking of seeing you, where can they follow you on Instagram? What do you want to share with us?
I am on pretty much all social media. At Nicole is just okay. I co-produce 3 shows at Stab right now. One with Jesse called Dear IBWTF every 3rd Saturday at 10 p.m. Sorry, I'm thinking I'm not like William Shatnering. And then every 3rd Friday here, I do Willie Listen at 8, which is a music discussion show with Willie Travis, and then Comedy Yacht Club afterwards, which is like a weird improv comedy. No one knows what's going on, including people on stage, so it's kind of a wild ride.
Yeah, Comedy Yacht Club is a lot of fun. All those shows are, not even the one I'm on. Yeah, all those shows are great. If you guys aren't very familiar with Stab Comedy Theater, it is like such a great avant-garde theater where there's rules, but there's no rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you, Jesse, for letting us do fun stuff like this. Everybody follow Nicole on Instagram, social media. Her Twitter's hilarious.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming
thank
on,
you,
Nicole.
everyone.
Thank you. Do you get excited when a book you've read is being adapted into a movie?
It depends. Like, okay, so I read the book Annihilation. If you ever saw the movie, it's like Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson in it. I was just like, how the fuck are they gonna make this into a movie? Like, that book is weird AF. Like, it's good, but the movie is nothing like it. And I was just like, I don't feel okay with this.
All right. Well, you know what I feel okay with? I feel okay with our next guest. Please welcome to the stage. I forgot who I said was next. We're gonna go with Kelly Brown. Thank you. Please welcome to the stage comedian Kelly Brown. Kelly, your book is so big.
It is.
Hasn't anyone ever told you that you've got a big old book?
Kelly, you have a great relationship with books. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a librarian. And I know a lot of books. And this is my personal favorite book, but now I'm thinking of all the other books I like.
Right. Was it hard for you to settle on one book, or did you know immediately?
Oh, I knew immediately. I knew immediately. But I was thinking that you were asking about the last book she read. And one of those was The Personal Librarian. Have you heard about that?
No.
No, tell us.
It was about this woman, her name was Bella Costa Green, and she was black, but she passed as white. Her father was a civil rights activist. He was the first black man to graduate from Harvard. He was president of Keller, and he divorced the mother and made the children pass as white. But she became a librarian at Columbia, and she started working for J. Pierpont Morgan, and she developed his whole collection, went around the world, bought and sold stuff, bid on stuff, traveled in society, ended up, when he died, making it public, all of that available to everyone. It was pretty amazing.
That sounds amazing. Did you always want to be a librarian, or did
Really? I always wanted to be a librarian. I was a librarian since college. Yeah.
Since college?
Yeah.
What drew you to that? Was there something special about the library when you were growing up that you went to?
We went to the library every week, and everybody is nice to you in a library. Everybody's so helpful, and I just wanted to help people. You know, I avoid conflict at all costs, and I was a law librarian, which
Sorry.
I know.
It's okay, I'm a lawyer, so I can apologize on behalf of all of us.
So, but I didn't want to be a lawyer, and because I hated it, because it was all like adversarial. And,
Yeah, it's not.
yeah, not fun.
If you're not confrontational, don't be a lawyer. I learned that the hard way.
It's really hard. and so, but then I became a law librarian, so I could help you. And I liked helping people, you know, ordinary people come in and research the law and helping them, show them how to do stuff. Very, very rewarding.
I won't.
Do libraries still have the index card?
No. No, but I'm old enough to have typed those
What?
back in the day. The first library I ever worked for was the Faulkner Van Buren Regional Library. It's so small, it covered 2 counties in Arkansas. So, yeah, very small place.
So what was the process? Like, you guys would get a batch of new books in, like, on a Monday, and then you'd type up the card, and...
The process, well, a catalog card is very, very specific.
Right.
You know,
Wait, do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Because you gotta put the Dewey Decimal number on
catalog
it,
number?
right?
well, there's something called a MARC record, and every field indicates something about the book. If you ever opened a book and you see like this library and publication information, that's all that in a card. There's a bunch of numbers, and it's.
Did you ever think you'd get to tell this stuff to a room full of people, and they're just sitting on the edge of their seats? They're loving this.
Yeah. Actually, when you're a law librarian, the Dewey Decimal System is an elegant categorization system. It's like 100 through 900, and the thing is, the numbers in between can expand as human knowledge expands, right? Dot, blah, 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 right? And then if something turns into something else, it can contract. Something is no longer used. It's just very elegant. Melville Dewey was he sexually harassed everybody, but he was a terrible misogynist.
I don't like him.
I know, but he had a good idea.
You could have left that part out. Wow.
Yeah. So when people diss the Dewey Decimal System, I get upset.
So tell us about the book you chose.
Well, I chose Outlander. Does anybody know Outlander? It's a television show. It's now, which is a miniseries, which is okay. That's all right.
I've seen a couple. It's a little steamy.
There's steamy. Okay, this is why I chose the book.
Oh, all right. She's like, I'm glad you brought it up.
Also, I was thinking about what I just read, and it was Lady Chatterley's Lover and Anna Karenina. So these
Okay.
steamy. That's the kind I can tell you where to find a steamy book.
So I don't want to spoil Anna Karenina for people, but I'm not a fan of Keira Knightley, and it's completely irrational. So, but I saw the movie and I was like, yeah, let's go watch her get hit by a train. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
Man.
I was going to tell you about the Anna Karenina.
Tell us about your book.
Sorry.
Okay. So Outlander. All right. It is 1945, and there is a English army nurse. She's married to a historian. They go to Scotland for a second honeymoon. She ends up going through some stones, like Stonehenge, right? She travels back 200 years, okay? This is 1745, and you met Bonnie Prince Charlie. They're fighting. This is in Scotland. Did I say Scotland? Mm-hmm. That's important. Okay. And so anyway, there's this rebellion going on between Catholicism and the English Protestants. Okay. Scottish want to be Catholic. So, all right. So she gets to Scotland, right? And there's this really nice looking guy. His name is Jamie, right? And he's really hot and he wears a kilt. He's got red hair.
Nice.
Yeah. And so she's married, right? And, she tries to get back.
Right, exactly.
Not yet.
So anyway, she ends up falling in love with and marrying this Jamie guy and having a lot of hot sex on the way. And then they have this battle, in which all the Scottish people die. The Battle of Culloden, I don't know. Anyway, it's a battle in which all but 3 Scottish people die. And she's pregnant with his child. Oh, and he has red hair, and she doesn't. Her husband doesn't. Anyway, so she's pregnant, and he knows he's about to die, and so he sends her back through the stones. Okay, she has this baby. Her husband Frank pretty much knows it's not his, but raises her anyway. Okay, so then later she's like 50 something. She was like 25 in the first. She's like 50 something, and she finds out through a friend who's a historian he's still alive. He survived the battle, right? So I mean,
She had just assumed he had died in the battle.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, she goes back through the stones, right? And they find each other, and they're married, and they travel everywhere. They go to Paris, Jamaica, everywhere, and of course they're together in part. And this is a 10 series book, and they're all like this.
Oh.
I just read the 9th one. The 10th one hasn't come out yet. But in the 9th one, oh, and she's older than he is. Okay. In the 9th one, she's 64 and he's 59, and they are still having really hot sex.
All right.
Which is why I like it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Is that the first book of the series, or?
Outlander is the first book in the series. This is the only hard copy thing I have, and it is called An Outlandish Companion. It's just there's so many books and so many characters, and so this tells you all about them. It's like an encyclopedia to the series.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like she and George R.R. Martin kind of are friends and write together and stuff like that. So it's very complicated.
And so they're still writing books in the series.
Yeah, the last one hasn't come out yet.
When's it coming out?
I think in the spring. This is the spring. No, it's not the spring.
No, it's not the spring.
Soon. I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
You got some questions for her, Dana?
No, I'm just thinking of it being steamy, and I'm like, yeah.
Who's in the movie, or who's in the it's a TV series?
Yeah. Sam, it's Heughan. I have no idea how to pronounce
Hune
that.
or something?
Yeah, isn't he?
Oh,
Isn't he?
I was thinking he's so pretty. When you're everyone has homework, look him up if you like pretty men.
Yeah.
Like please.
And the,
Nicole's looking him up right now.
It's been a while.
Nicole, show the class.
the woman who plays Claire, you know, I didn't like her at first, but now I like her. You know, it's like when someone, you have a picture in your head of what somebody looks like. He looks like the picture. She took a little getting used to, so.
Well, he got used to her.
Yeah, it's very. The only thing is, like, this takes place mostly, 200 years ago, whatever. And they have all these steamy sex.
You can say it.
And I could go into detail, as you know. But I can't. I'm thinking, this is 200 years ago. There's no such thing as showers. You know, these people are.
Yeah. But if that's all
That's
you
my-
know, then that's
that's-
what you know.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, right? It's not,
I
it's not
mean-
like you know what somebody smells like clean. Like,
Yeah.
But they also have like containers that you can like put water in, and rivers still existed. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Like,
I mean, yeah.
we didn't invent rivers in the 1900s. Like. And it rains a lot up there. I mean, I'm sure they just go outside and stand in the rain.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
watch
some
me clean.
Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
I want to ask you one more thing, not related to the book, but just like some.
My pants?
No.
Yes. I love your
No,
pants.
not at all. But now that you mention it, yeah, those are great pants and the boots. What? Because you're a librarian and you love books so much, Do you kind of nerd out about, oh, this is a first pressing of this book, or this is a, or no, I don't want that one. That's a third pressing. I'm looking for a first pressing.
Yeah, I don't do that with books.
Okay.
Well, I'm conscious of it because I go and I'll pull books that are very fine volumes and take them to be preserved so that they won't. And you'll come across something, you're like, oh my God, this is, but I don't collect them.
Have you ever run across anything in a library that's just, you're just like, oh my God, this should be like in a museum somewhere?
Yes, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I cannot tell you the name of the book or who wrote it, but it had the most beautiful binding I've ever seen. It was red leather with gold on it, you know. I mean, it was a real
It was a work of art, right?
Yeah, and so I wish I could remember the name of it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mostly have stuff on a Kindle because I can't see.
Mm.
And you can blow up the letters really big on a Kindle.
Nice. Dana, are you ready? You got
I
everything
got.
you need?
Oh gosh.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Kelly, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
You know, I've taken improv twice.
Yeah.
Here we go. A scene from.
Be like, oh, hey, babe, I just came back through the rocks again, and look, we're having another baby, number 5. It's yours.
Well, the other two kind of red hair. And
Yeah, the first 2 had red hair, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. You're English, it's up north. Yeah.
They do talk.
I mean, the third one is really tall and wears top hats because I traveled to a different area. There's this nice guy named Abe who I spent some time with.
Where do you go?
Well,
Where do you go when you go through the stones?
I mean, sometimes I go to old-timey Scotland. I went to America once. This last time I met this nice guy named Nick. He's already got a bunch of kids. I think his last name's Cannon. You know,
And?
yeah, and we talk. We just talk about you and life. And yeah, I mean, how do you think I got so pregnant? I was like, oh, I miss my lover. I miss my husband. Oh, I'm pregnant again. Just the thought of you.
Yeah. Well, you know I had my tubes tied, right?
Oh, I didn't know they invented that yet.
Shit. Well, you realize this is the present,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're going to the past.
I forget, time travel is so wonky. Hey, Genghis, stop beating up on your brothers. You're bigger than everyone else. He looks just like you.
Well, the one with the tweed hat is the one getting beat up.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely yours. It's seen. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Kelly, where can we find you on social media? You got any shows coming up? What do you want to part us with?
I'm on Facebook.
Oh, are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's age appropriate.
Okay.
I was trying to think. I think, are we doing Comedy Yacht Club this month?
Yes, but it's going to be a normal comedy show.
Okay.
Normal.
A Comedy
I don't
Yacht
trust
Club
that.
I come to sometimes. And what's the date of that?
It is the third Friday, which is...
Is it the 27th?
I think it's the 20th. Let me check. Sorry, time is a construct.
No problem.
It's the 20th, sorry.
It's the 20th. Okay. The 27th, I'm going to be Johnny Carson on the Tonight play,
Oh,
which I'm very
wow.
excited
That's
about.
here at Stab, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Tonight
Yeah.
Show play here at Stab. It's awesome.
It is a word-for-word reenactment of Tonight Show with Johnny Carson on January 27th, 1973, because this is a 50-year anniversary. So,
All right, great.
so
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Kelly. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
You're gonna keep your book, right? Just kidding.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our final guest for the night. Very funny person, very kind person, very smart person, all around great person, and really great friend of mine. Please welcome to the stage, Miss Sarah Dutcher.
Hi.
Sarah, how the hell are you?
I'm kind of done with winter. I'm more of like a summer person. Like once the holidays are over, I'm like 85 degrees. Like I'm ready. Like so other than that, I'm okay. Besides the suffering.
How far do we gotta go till 85 degrees? That's like 3 months?
Like May.
May?
May. Yeah.
That's like 5 months.
I feel like as it feels like February 23rd pops and you're like, oh look, it's summer.
Like everything blossoms and you're like, oh my god, like light at the end of the tunnel, and then March hits you and you're like, oh shit, like seasonal depression comes back with a vengeance. Like bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. But I'm good.
That's good. Do you love books, Sarah?
I do, actually. Before I got into comedy, all my social media was called Books Sarah Cats, because it was just pictures of my cat and books I was reading.
I thought that your social media was Books Sarah Katz because you wanted people to book you using your social media.
Yeah, people thought like, oh, your name's Sarah Katz, you want to be booked. I'm like, that's a good guess. Like, it's commendable.
Yeah.
You know what word I'm trying to say? Commendable? Yeah. A word I learned while reading, so I don't know how to say it.
And do you still have a lot of books? Is it still something you do every day?
No. Part of the problem is I started reading Wheel of Time, which is like this epic fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. It's fantastic. Except it's, for some reason, I read so slowly while reading it. I'm like, did I forget how to read? And like after like book 4, I read Margaret Atwood's sequel to The Handmaid's Tale. I read that in like 36 hours. I'm like, I can eat this up. I'm like, I do know how to read. I can't read Wheel of Time.
Well, I find that like if some authors have a different flow to their writing style, you have to read it slower because the sentence structure doesn't match what you're like used to.
Oh, I tried reading Isabel Allende because it's supposed to be like one of the greatest like Spanish language authors. I was reading in English. She'll have like no dialogue for like 6 pages, and this is a novel, and like the like paragraphs will be like 1.5 pages long. So it took me a really long time to read. I had to stop because there are too many sexual assault themes. I'm like, this is so long and so heavy. Like if I could read it faster, it'd be more enjoyable.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's the book you brought for us today?
Speaking of, never mind.
Do it.
Speaking of sexual assaults, no, Barbara Kingsolver, The Lacuna, her other books have a lot of sexual assault themes in them. This one does not. The really popular one, The Poisonwood Bible. Her first one, her premiere novel, is now like required reading. It's called The Bean Trees. I don't know if other people read. I didn't have to read it in high school, but other classes in my high school did. It's phenomenal. Before she was a novelist, she published scientific papers, and so she does have books like the Poisonwood Bible has works cited. I love it. As a nerd, I'm like, yes, give me that. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, wait. Before I dive into this, I just want to say, a couple years ago, I tried reading Anna Karenina. That was another one I had to stop.
It's very big.
It's like, okay, the moral character is the one who is like, I think we got to keep these peasants in their place. It's immoral to pay them, and you're like, this is why literally everybody wanted the Russian Revolution. Like everybody wanted those mofos out. And also, Joe Wright is one of my favorite directors, and so he cut down the like "we hate peasants" part, and he added in like the artistry of like theater.
Right? Because when I read it, I was like, oh, I hate this bitch. She's such a whiny bitch. Like if you knew in real life, she'd be the girl that was like all hot, like when you knew her, and then you started dating her, and she's like the meanest, whiniest bitch you've ever met, and like brings you down all the time.
Which one are you talking about? Because I'm thinking like 3 characters.
No, Anna Karenina, she's terrible, and I hated reading the parts where she was doing shit. But then when Tolstoy was like, do I or do I not like socialism? I was like, this is very fascinating. Farming, this is way more fun. Like,
also, they have the sex right away, so I'm like, okay, there goes like the will they, won't they? I'm like, okay, like bored.
but it's also very like, wait, did they just have that cool? In old Taiwanese, they don't. It's not steamy, or it's just like, and then the sun rose. And some mist hung over. You're like, wait, they just banged. Like,
and in the movie version, it has Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden together again in Pride and Prejudice. It's Mr. Darcy, except he's allowed to smile in this one. He's like jovial and goofy and like a womanizer, and we don't like that. But it's nice. Like, speaking of communism, one of the main characters in this book is Lenin, the guy who was expelled from Russia when Stalin took over, because this book is about a young white boy named Harrison as a kid growing up in Mexico because his dad was like a diplomat. But then like growing up as like, you know, fish out of water, not like his parents don't really care about him. So he's kind of like just spends his days like amongst like mostly with like the chef and like other servant like servants. You know, it's him is kind of looking at the world of like, why am I the one that's out? And so like Barbara Kingsolver is really it's like literary fiction, so it's really beautiful writing. And so you're like, oh my god, like I'm reading poetry, I'm deep. It's really great. Again, when you're depressed, and like he's like the first half of the book is like his journals, except it's written in third person. So you really get the sense that like he's an outsider into his own life. Like he doesn't understand like forming that identity that like everyone can relate to, except in smarter words. But then you're like, oh, the 7-year-old is smarter than me. And there's stories of like, or you know, he'd write about like, you know, going swimming and then like swimming really far out and like seeing all the fish, like when like the fish see him approaching, like they move together and like they know how to like keep each other safe. And he's like, why? It's like, and I see like the other families living here know how to do that. Like, why doesn't my family know how to do it? Like, what's wrong with me that like I'm the one who can't join in on like the school of fish? And it's fantastic. And then as a teen, he moves to the city of Mexico. Oh, and this is in the 20s at this point. He moves to the city of Mexico, starts going to art school, like, sees Diego Rivera, famous Mexican muralist, sees their crew, because this is like after the Mexican Revolution, trying to like, you know, get up like your like Mexican pride. Let's like teach everybody about how beautiful our history is. And like he starts ditching school and like helping with like the murals. And so he somehow gets recruited, like as he's like now like late teen, he starts living with Diego Rivera and his wife Frida Kahlo, and like it's her family home, which is really funny because they're communists. Like, we need to get rid of generational wealth. It's like, great, like move out of your father-in-law's house. Like, and then Frida's like, we need to live in a classless society. I argue with my servants about this all the time. It's like, it's a fantastic, like I think like communism is like a hilarious subject matter because it's so extreme, like at the inherent absurdism. Like this is like totally unrelated. But you could redo the show 30 Rock in 1930s Russia and it'd be exactly the same. like it's not really like, she's not like trying to be like funny, but she kind of like opens the way for you to like see that like this doesn't quite add up. Yeah, like he becomes like and then because like IRL, because Kahlo and Rivera were communists, they took Lenin in, like, so like, and would like protect him as like Stalin's like hitmen would come. Little fun action for one scene. What does I need? I'm just ranting about this so much. This is my favorite thing.
When he's living with Frida and Diego, are they living in the Casa Azul? Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. And so like she talks like, you know, like the big like the specific floor plan, like how they like choose different parts of the houses because like they're cheating on each other and like the way that only the rich can, as we born in Anna Karenina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, the whole thing of like, my wife is like more avant-garde than I am, and like she's not a real artist, but like I think like everyone's equal. Like, you're kind of full of shit. And then there's just so much of that. Like it's just like without like clubbing you over the head the way I am right now. But then like he goes to America, and by this time it's like he finished it. He goes like to college during the Great Depression. I don't super remember that part of the book. But then he like lives on his own, and it's during World War II, and you know, that's when we were the most like we're gonna do it together. Like we'll have our victory gardens and support the troops, and like we're here as a community. And so he's like, great, yeah. He's like, I like this. He's like, finally, like this makes sense. You know, he's used to like socialist ideals, and he starts publishing books, and they take off, and they're super popular. You know, he brings in like he's telling the story of like the Aztecs like finding like going to like Tenochtitlan for the first time, and like great hit. And then he writes, oh, by the way, at this time he's discovering, part of why he's an outsider, he's discovering sexuality. He's gay. This author has a big vocabulary, but gay baiting is not a word she knows. It's closed door. You know, he takes his college friend to a hotel, and you know some things happen. But you know, then at this point, it's like the 40s and the 50s, so it's like very, very closed door.
And this is all Lenin, like the dude from Russia is the character.
No, sorry.
Okay, like very like
no. He's like a little like this is like someone who like lived in that house. Like
okay.
he lived in the house at the same time, and like got to be friends.
I was like, is this like fan fiction of
A
like
little
Lenin?
bit, because like she makes like you know, it's like we're gonna take what things Lenin said and just put it on paper, and then like you read about what things Lenin did, and you're like, she left out some important pieces. But then the character who is not Lenin is a boy named Harrison. I guess that used to be a first name. Oh, right, Harrison Ford. I watched Indiana Jones last night. But he gets brought before the House Un-American Activities Committee. Like McCarthy is like, we're going to interview you and like try to ostracize you. And you know, they take his like writing out of context and like try to like didn't you say this? And he's like, well, the villain in the book said it. Like, so it's like really interesting how like people do that with Oscar Wilde all the time. Like Oscar Wilde said this. It's like, no, his character said that. You know, it says a lot that, and then like, you know, bad things happen because he's a gay man in the 50s. He can never really be happy. Well, for this character. But I really like that, like this character is effectively like getting actually canceled, not like today's canceled. But the author is not like one of those people who's up in arms about cancel culture, which I admire because it's really annoying. People get, oh, they're gonna cancel me. So it's not really heartwarming, but it still makes you feel good. You know, like I don't know, like I don't know. Okay, is that not relatable? You're like, wow, that was so sad. You know, like you learn about like homeless puppies, or like it's cute and it's sad. Anyway.
All right.
Other fake sadness is more fun than my own personal
Exactly. And like you get like getting to like experience somebody else's sadness kind of helps you like understand your own. And yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dana, you got it?
Okay.
You getting the gist of it?
Yeah.
Did you know it's not Lenin?
Yeah.
Although we can do that story that Lyndon
I was just like,
is a gay sci-fi author.
right.
Let's do it.
I mean, sometimes you just fall in love with historical figures and you want them to do more things.
Yeah, you've heard the coffee shop AU. You have this gay sci-fi author AU. Nobody else reads fanfic. Okay. You and me, baby. You and me.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, just finished my new novel, and hear this. It's the continued adventures of Winston Churchill, right?
Wow. Are we sure that this would be popular with American audiences? Because
Yes, because he is old and overweight and super sexist, and he smokes cigars, and that's like half of America.
that's perfect. I want a book that leaves me in my comfort zone. I don't want anything challenging. Like, can we make it like? Can we throw in a hate crime in the book?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that his entire administration was low-key a hate crime. World War II made heroes of a lot of sketchy people. But yeah, I think he's gonna travel down to Italy. He's gonna eat some pasta, make out with someone's nonna. It's gonna be sexy.
Is he gonna? I want him to punch Mussolini. That's just what I want.
Oh, yeah.
I want like a one-on-one fight between Winston Churchill and Mussolini.
Yeah, they're gonna
fascism versus.
whatever that is.
England's got a lot going on.
Right. Yeah.
Brexit versus fascism.
They're drinking some Chianti in a small Italian bar, and they get a little drunk, and one of them's like, "Your wife's ugly," and he's like, "Fight me, bitch!" And then they're just like punching it out, and that, yeah.
I mean, was Winston Churchill's wife actually ugly? Like, can we put a picture of her to be like a jump scare? Like, like British woman before moisturizer. I don't know.
Yes.
That was a really mean thing to say.
I mean, I'd hate to make fun of her, but yes, I'm sure she probably
married Winston
was.
Churchill, so I think adjacent,
Right.
like, we can make fun of her. Like,
Then he comes to America, and he was like, "Hey, President." Now it's the 60s, and he's like, "Hey, Lyndon B. Johnson, I think I'm in love with you. Please put me in a bathtub and wipe me down with a sponge."
ooh, Lyndon B. Johnson is very progressive.
Yes.
Like, oh, this is good. This isn't a closed door scene.
No.
We're gonna get the full bathtub.
Yes. And they are also artists, but not like with paintbrushes, but with their body.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. I think that's the end of that chat. I think he can meet some hippies though, like go out into like Capitol Mall.
Oh yeah, and they totally hold. They hold Woodstock, Sacramento, 1972.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is fiction, so we can do whatever we want, baby.
Yeah, when we get the Manson family in there.
Oh,
Up in
perfect.
Sacramento,
And
it's church.
It's just an orgy right there on the state
Freak
capitol.
out.
Oh, yay!
Like, let's start a class war.
That's gonna be $1 million book right there.
Yes. Ooh, everything you want. Like,
Anyone gonna buy this?
I would buy this.
And see.
Thank you. Sarah, where can we find you on Instagram?
Yeah, so it's no longer books, Sarah Katz. It's Sarah Dutcher. Twitter is, it's actually Sarah Dutcher Comedy, and then Twitter is, it's Sarah Dutcher. Ever since, I don't know, they've been like purging all the, I guess like automatic things on Twitter that purge the bots, and like people haven't been redoing it, so I've just been hemorrhaging followers. I'm like, we want the bots on Twitter. We want that engagement.
Bring the bots back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's our show, everybody. Thanks for coming out. If you're not already following Stab Comedy on social media, please follow them on social media. Join their Twitch. There's lots of great shows here almost every day of the week. But thanks for coming out, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that is it for the book club, but we're not done for the night. If you want some open mic comedy,
you guys for
well,
coming
we've
out.
got that coming up in just a
Enjoy
couple
it.
minutes. So stick around and grab a drink, or, if you're done with us for the night, check out stabcomedytheater.com for our full calendar of events. We stream live improv, stand-up, sketch, podcast, gaming, and music streams 6 nights a week. Or we're here live in person Thursdays through Sundays. So check us out. If you're sticking around for the mic, I'll see you out front. If you're done for the night, hope to see you again soon. And online audience, hey guys, is there somewhere that we can send you? Probably. How about we send you over to, I don't know, Nick and the A-Team. Why not? Hold on for the raid, and I'll see you back here tomorrow at 6.